Welcome back to my Books with Life channel. So today's video is going to be my huge book haul that includes all my books from Christmas, arcs that I've received since then, and just books that I have bought for myself that I'm dying to read. The descriptions might be a little off. I read the synopsis when I buy the book, so I know I'm interested in them. I try not to read them again so I can go into the book kind of like, woo, new adventure. So I will share with you the books, what I remember about them, why I noticed them or why I liked them in the first place, and you should pick them up if you like one. So here we go. So first I'm going to start with my Latinx reads. Let me search because I think I have another one. Wait, there we go. Okay, so with my Latinx reads, and first of all we have Cemetery Boys. So Cemetery Boys is an arc of a book that is coming out on June 2020. The author themselves are Latinx and also identify as trans. This book follows Yadriel and Julian in East LA. They're supposed to have a romance, but I'm not there yet. I'm on chapter 10. The book is awesome. The first 3 chapters should be read by every trans parent out there because just quality material here. And also, it's such an homage to multiple Latinx cultures. I mean, there's Puerto Rican and Cuban and Mexican and brujeria and respecting, and just the atmosphere of the culture in this book was so well taken care of, and you can tell that he wrote it with a lot of love, and I can't wait to read it or finish reading it because I'm there and reviewing it, because this is definitely one book that I want to highlight, I want to spotlight it, and I want you guys to hear about it. So Cemetery Boys by Aiden Thomas, he's amazing. Then we have Dark and Deepest Red by Anne-Marie McLemore, and they were ever so kind to send this copy my way, and I'm just touched. It had a little message inside, and I'm just really happy. I'm also really excited because I also have their book, Wild Beauty. So this year it's going to be Anne-Marie McLemore year. And I've been eyeing this book as my anticipated release since last year when I saw this amazing cover. Ta-da! It's just beautiful. It's called Dark and Deepest Red. And it basically is a retelling of Red Shoes. And these pair of shoes, somebody put them on, they basically dance to death, which, like, what? So that concept really caught me. And then like 500 years later, it starts happening again. And basically it's a race to try to stop it so there's not another tragedy. And I'm here for the beautifulness, for the author, for the story. And yes, Anne-Marie McLemore, guys. Yes, they the best. And also they're like the sweetest on social media. So like, why not? Then we have 2 books by the same author, Anne Davila Cardinal. Also, I'm sorry if you can hear the vacuum. My brother decided to start vacuuming at the wrong time of day. Who vacuums at 10 a.m.? Anyways, so we have 2 books. If you have seen my previous videos, you know that I've been really hyped for these 2 books. They're the first books ever that I will read taking place in Puerto Rico, which like is hype because I'm from there and I'm ready to read books that take place in my country. So Anne Davila Cardinal, or Anne D Cardinal on Twitter, she was ever so kind to send these books to me, and I'm just really excited, so I'll tell you about both. So this is the first book. It's called 5 Midnights, and it follows the legend of El Cuco. For those of you who don't know, El Cuco is like this scary thing that, like, depending on the Puerto Rican household, we have different views on it, but it's basically like a scary being, and he comes at you if you do things wrong, or he comes at night. And let's just say that none of us liked El Cuco and we didn't want to meet him. I really like this rendition of El Cuco because nobody really knows what El Cuco looks like. But it says monsters only come when they're called. I know both of these books are thrillers, So I'm really excited because not only are they thrillers, which I'm starting to love, but like they're Puerto Rican thrillers. So like, do I even have to say anymore? So yes, Five Midnights by Anne Cardinal. And then the sequel, which is coming out in June of 2020, is called Category 5. And obviously Category 5 is a reference to the kind of recent Hurricane Maria that Puerto Ricans are still recovering from and trying to get funding and trying to rebuild their houses on top of earthquakes. But like, who wants to talk about that, right? Anyways, so yes, a very important time in Puerto Rican history, but in this case, it has been turned into a thriller, and it basically, some murders are happening, and these three teens go on to investigate. And is it the storm that caused these deaths? Is it people that are taking advantage of the fact that the storm happened? Or is there something more sinister in the midst, as you can see from the art on the book? And I'm pretty sure it follows the same three teenagers that are in the first book. I'm not positive, but I'm ready. According to this little blurb here, it says, Anne Cardinal returns to Puerto Rico with another chilling supernatural thriller about the families we choose and the monsters we never see coming. Which, like, need I say more? I'm really excited. So I have these two fabulous Puerto Rican based books, and I'm here for the representation. And I also heard that I also skimmed a little bit and saw that it takes place in different cities in Puerto Rico, some of which I've never been to. So it'll be really cool to learn about other places in my own country. So, all right. Then we have this arc. This arc is massive, I'd like to point out. This is an arc that I'm really excited to read because not only did we have our eyes on it, but a lot of Latinx reviewers actually received this book at their doorstep without asking, which you might think is crazy, but I think it's awesome because the book is being put into the hands of Latinx reviewers, into the hands of Argentinian reviewers, which is super important to do for Latinx books, just for representation purposes, and also just to get a deeper look at the representation in these kind of books. So this particular arc is called Lois Sauna by Romina Garber. This book says in the front, undocumented, unprotected, unafraid, and the cover is just absolutely stunning. And I know it's Argentinian heritage that is taking place in this book. She's undocumented in America, but she doesn't know that. And she only finds that out due to something that happens in the book, as far as I'm concerned. And not only is she undocumented in real life, but turns out that when she's starting to look into her Argentinian heritage, there are lobos, which would be wolves. But she's a lobizona, which is a female wolf, which should not exist. Which technically means she's also undocumented and unprotected within her Argentinian heritage. So I'm really looking forward to see how the author developed this kind of world. It's a book unlike anything I've read before in terms of concept. So it's a book I'm really excited about and that I will be reading along with other Latinx reviewers. So we'll definitely get to scream and holler at all the things that we see and hear. Also, one of our Latinx squad, beautiful people, actually said we should play She-Wolf by Shakira while we're reading it. And I'm not going to say I'm opposed to that because it's on brand. So, yeah, Lobizona by Romina Garber. And this one comes out May 2020. And then we have This Train is Being Held by Ismay Williams. First of all, the pink cover. Also Dominican main character, male main character. So This Train is Being Held follows the story of Isabel Warren and Alex Rosario in New York City. They meet on train 1, I think. And basically they keep meeting as they go on this train, and they keep learning about each other. I really want to see how that storyline develops because I'm like, if I met somebody on the train, I would want to be friends with them outside of the train, especially if we see each other a lot and every time we get on the train. However, that seems to be only me, because when my dad saw my initial video where I said this was an anticipated release of mine, my dad was like, why would I want to be friends with people that I meet on the train? Like, it's cool. I see them, I say hello, I move on. And I was like, but, and he was like, no. So apparently it's just me. So from the people that have read this book, I've heard nothing but great things, and I'm really hopeful for it. If you want to get a gist of it, it says, is a love built on impossible circumstances possible to sustain? I guess we'll find out. So this train is being held by Ismay Williams. Now, we are going into my LGBTQIA plus reads. Not quite yet. I'm missing one Latinx read. We have, and this one arrived yesterday from a giveaway that I won from Adele Ray Books and Random House and Penguin Random House Books. To imprints connected to books to it's hard. So this one is Gods of Jade and Shadow by Silvia Moreno Garcia. It's about Mexican culture, Mayan gods, women on an adventure. As you can see, there's a lot of Mayan references in the cover, which I love, and it's just absolutely stunning. The paperback released recently, so that's why I have a paperback, and I'm really excited to read it. A lot of the Latinx reviewers that I talk with often have already read it and have been raving about it, so I'm really excited to add this to my Latinx shelf, which is growing, guys. It's growing. All right, now into my LGBTQIA plus reads. So the first book I'm going to talk about, I'm really excited for, because I am always trying to be an ally, an informed ally to the rest of the LGBTQIA umbrella. I myself identify as asexual, but that doesn't mean that I know a lot of things about the other umbrella parts. So, especially about the trans non-binary part of the umbrella. And I really do want to learn more about that and educate myself about that so I can support the community in more ways. So I saw this book recommended on a non-binary person's Twitter feed, and basically it's called SheHeTheyMe by Robin Ryle, and it says, for the sisters, misters, and binary resistors. What I like about this book, it's a choose your own adventure book, and the reason this is important is because it will give a little bit more in-depth look at what determines gender, and the broad spectrum of genders and how it exists and why people identify one way or the other. And basically, I'll read the back for you because it's like the best. So this is how the book works. So you are born and your gender path begins. You might think the first question to ask about your gender is whether you're born a boy or a girl. But the first question comes even before that. So you have four worlds to explore. Number 1, you're born into a time and place where gender exists. 2, you're born into a time and place where gender doesn't exist. 3, you're born into a culture with 2 genders. And 4, you're born into a culture with infinite genders. So this book really explores how the society that you're born in and the society that you exist in kind of determine what genders you can choose from or how they may be interpreted. And I'm really looking forward to dive into this, and I actually do want to follow all 4 choose your own paths separately. Number 1, so I can review them and say what I thought about it and what I learned, but also because I think all the paths are important to understand. Like, if you're born in all these different kinds of societies, how does your perspective of gender change, and does it matter? So I'm really excited for this book, and I'm really excited they recommended it. So SheHeTheyMe by Robin Ryle, and like that cover with all the gender symbols is just amazing. Then we have Nothing Ever Happens Here by Sarah Hager Holt. This book, if you've seen previous videos of mine, you know I caught some beef on Twitter for wanting to own this book, which I actually ordered from the UK because I don't think it will be publishing in the US anytime soon. This is a trans story, not own voices though. The author does not identify as trans. However, it tells a story about a little girl who lives in a city where nothing ever happens, and all of a sudden her dad comes out as a trans woman. And she is exploring how this might affect her family, if her family is going to get divorced, if she's going to stop having a dad. She's dealing with the questions that her young classmates are asking about her father. And I'm guessing they will also touch on how her dad, as a trans woman, works through this with her. So I'm really excited to see what happens. I love that this author really not only seems to be a supporter of trans rights from my research, but also I know that leading up to her publication and on the day of her publication and thereafter, she has always shared resources. She has uplifted trans authors. She has shared their stories, and many trans reviewers really enjoyed this book and really support it. So I'm really looking forward to seeing the kind of story that's illuminated in these pages, because I'm pretty sure it's something that happens, like somebody waits till they're older in life and settled to come to terms with their sexuality and comes out, but they already have a family. And I feel like those stories are important to tell. So Nothing Ever Happens Here by Sarah Hagerholt. Then we have, oh my god, my nose, my hair, my everything. All right, then we have Ascension by Jacqueline Koyanagi. This is a Black author, and she's also polyam. And for those of you who don't know what that is, she's polyamorous or identifies as polyamorous. And the reason she wrote this series is because she couldn't find POC stories about polyamorous people. So she was like, I'm gonna go do it. And I love it because Ascension, which is the first one in the series, I'm reading because my best friend at Venus Inferno on Twitter, but also my best friend in real life, she recommended that we read this together. And I'm just loving it, guys. Like, it's not something that I normally read because I'm not a big sci-fi reader, but I was like, it's my best friend. I'm going to read with her. So I fell into this amazing book, and I'm like 4 chapters in so far, and I love the racial commentary of society. I love the general commentary on society and class divisions and finances and money and who has access and who doesn't. And it's done so intricately well in space that is baffling. I don't know if there's any male part in this polyamorous situation, as so far I've only met 3 female women. So is that an oxymoron? Female woman? I don't know. I've met 3 women. And so it might be FFF. I'm not particularly sure. But what I can say is that all these women are kick-ass. We have a sky surgeon, we have a captain, we have a doctor. Like, I can't. The powerfulness in this book. I'm here, and I'm really excited to finish it. I'm really trying not to run ahead of my friend because we're buddy reading, but like, I told her it's a miracle I haven't finished it yet, and the only reason I haven't finished it is because of her, because otherwise I would have already been done, because it's that good. So I'm really looking forward to sharing this book with you guys as well, because I'd never heard of it. Never heard of it. And I'm like, people can't miss out on such good sci-fi like this. Especially not polyamorous sci-fi. So like, oh guys, it's 11. All right. And then we have Criers War, which my mom bought for me last year, but I left to China, so I had no idea she'd bought it for me last year. And then I arrived this year and got it. So I'm really excited. It's called Criers War. In the cover, there's one mortal, one maid, one loved, one betrayed by Nina Varela, which is also a sweetheart on Twitter. I've heard nothing but good things about this book. It's an FF romance. It's kind of steampunky. It's a slow burn, which, like, my middle name should be Natalia Slow Burn Martinez, because I'm here for the slow burn in stories. It really highlights my demisexual heart. So I'm excited for this one, and like, give me all the women love women books. Bring it on. Okay. Then we have The Sound of Stars, which I recently got from Book of the Month. It was my February pick, by Alekia Dow. And this has asexual representation, which is one of the reasons that I wanted to read this book. It's also by a POC author. It also has a campaign that I still need to sign up for some goodies that you can get for buying The Sound of Stars. And basically, the concept in the front of the book says, can their love of books and pop music save the world? So I'm like, books, number one. Pop music, number two. Asexual representation, number three. That's all I needed. 3 bullet points. Books, pop music, asexuality. Bring it on. So I did see a Twitter person that I follow just raving about this book as they were reading it, and about some stuff that could be found in here. They didn't spoil it, but it made me even more excited to read it. So I'm really hoping I can get to it next month sometime. So The Sound of Stars by Alekia Dow. And like, look at how beautiful that is. And like, it is sort of reminiscent of the asexual flag, just a little bit. So like, I see it. And then we have Reverie by Ryan LaSala. I actually started reading this book on the plane on my way back to the United States in digital form. I stopped reading it, not because it was bad, but because the book was getting so good. And I thought, if I want to read this book, I need to read my hardcover copy, which this was my January pick from Book of the Month. And because I wanted to note, like, I wanted to take notes and put in Post-its and write down what I thought and stuff, because this book is wild. I don't remember exactly what the theme was about. I do know it has to do with different dream worlds. From what I did get to read, there was a boy, there was a lot of gayness, and I mean a lot, which is amazing. But it seems that the circumstances that it happened to him under were a little weird, and it seems to be connected to these reveries. And I'm just here for it. And like, look at the cover again. I'm a sucker for good blurbs and nice covers. So yes. And then we're done with our LGBTQIA books as far as I'm concerned, I think. Yes. Then we have another Book of the Month pick. This was another January Book of the Month. Where the World Ends by Geraldine McCowran. This book takes place in Ireland. And if y'all have seen my reading journal, it is my plan to travel around the world in books this year. So I was like, I've never read a book set in Ireland before. And the concept seemed interesting. It's like these men go out to fish, which they always do, to this mountain. And then for some reason, I don't remember if it was the weather or not, they get stranded in this island with no way to get out of it. And I'm guessing that's where the title comes from, Where the World Ends. But like, I started listening to the audiobook, which I'm probably going to use to read along with the book, which I actually do a lot. I own a lot of audiobooks on Scribd, so I can read along to books and not just listen to it. But I liked it because the narrator is clearly from Ireland, and it really adds atmosphere to the book from what I was listening. So I'm excited for this one. Then we have Oasis, which was it my January pick for Book of the Month? Maybe. Yes. Oh, this was Reverie and Where the World Ends were my December picks for Book of the Month. Oasis was my January pick. So this one says, the Oasis saved them, but who will save them from the Oasis? So Oasis is supposed to be a sort of dystopian that takes place in the desert. And apparently they're like, obviously, probably dehydrated in the desert, and somehow the desert saves them. It's called an oasis. I'm guessing they think they found somewhere they can survive, but it's not truly what it seems. And I just love dystopian novels and haven't read a good one in a while. I have seen divided opinions over this book. So I'm ready to just read it and see what I think about it. I have loved books that people didn't like that much before. So I guess we'll find out. This is Oasis by Katia de Becerra, which I think is Russian. I think so. And I wonder where this desert is and where in the world it's going to take me, because I'm not actually sure about that. But also, Oasis. And then I have The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman. It was given to me by a really good friend of mine on Twitter. I don't remember their tag right now, but I will put it in the video when I'm editing. So you'll see it right there. The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman. I'm really excited to read this again. The first time I read it, I don't think I understood it. So now that she has bought me a new copy, I plan on trying it again, because the concept is important. It kind of has to do with like a pond in the back of a house that somebody lived long before, and there's some history there and some mystery and some thriller. So maybe I just wasn't paying attention the first time. So I'm going to try it again. So The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman. And we have Resurrection Girls, which seems to have some references to some dead people and some live people. I actually really don't know what this book is about. Out of all these, I know the least about this one. I got it sent last year to review it this year. It is a final copy. It already came out a long time ago, I'm pretty sure. But I'm really excited to read it. I do remember loving the synopsis. It does have to do something with like witches and death and that kind of thing. It also has a purple hardback. I don't know purple books, so this is like, it's my first purple book, which is really hype. Now, these last two books are unconventional, but I'm really excited about them. So your homegirl has been trying to read the Bible, because it is also a book, for the longest time. But let's just say that the Bible is extremely metaphorical, and I don't get it. But I did buy these two versions of the Bible because in a series that I would be working on YouTube, which details will be shared later, I will be trying to read the Bible and sharing with you what I learn about it on the way. I am of a firm belief that there is nothing in the Bible that is discriminatory towards people of the LGBTQIA plus variety, but a lot of people like to use this one book as a mighty weapon, and I plan to break down that weapon, because you can't tell me that somebody who is so supposedly, allegedly accepting and encouraging and nice to the poor and the marginalized and to those who didn't have much, that they would discriminate against the same people they claim to protect. So I have the NIV Action Spy Bible. It's beautiful, and it not only comes with notes and things like that explaining the text that you have read and giving you some more insight. It also brings comic book renditions of the stories, just to give you a deeper understanding. It's just a beautiful hardback Bible. It's like beautiful, like, oh. So I'm really excited. I did start reading the first book of the Bible, Genesis, in preparation for my series. So I will come to you with that later. And then I have, this book is heavy. And then I have the Action Bible, which is the Bible in complete comic book form. It is one of the very few comprehensive comic book renditions of the Bible. And I'll show you some of the pages because it's awesome. So like, it's literally all the stories from the Bible illustrated. Now, the cool part of this is that this book, unlike this book is in chronological order. So this comic book helps you understand the whole history of the Bible in context of the order that it happened in. Which, like, as I was reading Genesis, I was able to go into this book and kind of read those parts of Genesis in context to see what they were referring to. And that's really cool. Actually, this book is illustrated by a Latinx illustrator, which is really cool. It's been awarded as one of the Christian Book Awards because it is that comprehensive. So I'm really excited to share these two with you in a separate series that I'll be working on my YouTube, that I will be sharing details about soon, because yesterday I couldn't sleep thinking about it. So those are all the books that I hauled in the last 3 months. So I hope you saw some books in there that you were like, wow, that sounds really interesting. So feel free to click the subscribe button, click the notification bell, like the video. I really liked having you guys here with me today, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.